So now we're getting to the cutting of the letters. I always cut the inside of any nameplate, any font, any design that I'm going to do. Like the A's, the O's, in between two letters there are going to be connected. And there's not going to be an opening to cut into to get to them or whatever. So, and I always start from left to right. No particular reason, just that's the way I start. Try to keep your saw as straight as possible. Don't apply pressure to it to where you're like, no, smooth, man. Smooth strokes up and down. Get to the corner and you keep the saw blade, or you keep your saw moving with no pressure as you turn the piece. And then when you get to the end of the turn, you keep cutting forward, pulling back the metal slightly, everything slight, like really how do you say, not hard, basically, not rough movements, not heavy, cutting. This is something that needs finesse to it. If you're barely learning, take your time. This is how I straighten out my letters after cuts. I've been wanting to show this part. My friend John, which watches my videos on YouTube. Thank you, John, by the way. Always commenting and saying that he likes my stuff, and I appreciate that. But I told him I was trying to explain to him in a comment how I straighten out my cuts without filing. He says, how do you file in between certain letters, such when they're not straight, certain gaps? And I don't do that. I go back with the same saw and just kind of tilt it until it's even. You just see back and forth, up and down, back and forth, and this level evens it out, basically evens the metal out. So if it's not straight, like if you see that there's like a little bump or whatever, then turn your saw blade this way towards the metal and kind of cut it. That'll even it out. Just be careful not to do too much. I don't know if you guys get it, if I'm explaining myself right or not. But hopefully there'll be another chance to show you guys again. Always make sure your metal is firm on your bench pin, firm on all sides, not moving, not slipping as you're cutting. Hold it down. I can't cut slow. I need to cut fast, but I'm going slow just to show you guys. The way I grip the frame of the saw blade is like this, basically. Not like this. It's only with like these two fingers or these three. My thumb is out. It's not really holding. Like, I'm not holding it with a lot of pressure. I'm not holding it, like really gripping it. These are the strokes that you want to do with your saw blade long, and that's how you should cut. You can either blow the dust off or have a little brush with you and just kind of clean the area around when the dust starts collecting. Put a little lubricant on there. Keep going. Whenever the blade doesn't want to move, if it gets stuck on you, just let the name go. Let the blade straighten out the name on its own. And then you can see, move it as you please. The blade will show you the way, basically. Always keep your drawer out to catch all the dust that's falling down. Looks like we're almost running out of time, so I'm gonna speed this up. On these parts, most of my connections on the letters are going to be down here on the bottom. S to the A to the L to the I, and so forth. So I like cutting the top part out first because it's where most of the metal is. That's the hardest part, basically. So attack the hardest part first, and I mean the rest is easy, right? And I also like to use pliers when I'm at a certain point where there's no metal really to hold over here without running the risk of getting cut with the blade. I grab some pliers and kind of hold the metal wherever available or wherever there's space to hold, and continue from there with my cutting. I just make sure that it's on the bench pin, securely on the bench pin. Always. I have experience, so I can keep it up here, hold it as I'm cutting, just with the pliers. But I don't recommend you guys do that till later. Practice it, but don't really do that until you guys have a little bit more practice. It doesn't always have to be in the center where you're cutting, not always. You can use the whole bench pin, the sides, anywhere, wherever you're more comfortable. It never has to be, or it doesn't always have to be in the center. Remember that. This piece is kind of in the way, so we're going to take that off. Hopefully without breaking the blade. There we go. And we continue on. again, brush off the dust. And looks like we're over the time. This is going to be a longer video. I might have to forward it. How do you say, speed it up when editing? Maybe not. It all depends on you guys, really. If you guys want me to leave my videos long because they help you out, or you guys want me to speed them up because you guys just want them to watch, or you know what I mean? Let me know in the comments. We're gonna add a little piece here to the S just so I have a stronger connection to the A. How many blades have you guys broken so far? I'm just kidding. That was me. Took me a long time to get here, man, to this point. I'm telling you, this skill is just, it's not the easiest. Not every jeweler perfects this skill of sawing using the saw blade. It's not the easiest thing to master. Watching somebody cut is, you know, not all that. It's boring, basically. But try to make it a little interesting. When I get close to the end, I find myself bending the metal a little bit on the back part up to apply pressure to the front, because where I'm cutting is where it needs to be more sturdy and stable, and this kind of helps. Can't really read these letters real well. If you can't, on the piece that you're cutting, read the letters or see the image real well, then I suggest you go over it first, mark it, darken it with a pencil or a pen. I mean, I can draw it as I cut, but you might want to just go over it one time. Make sure that you can see it. We're going to add the same little tail on this one as we did to the first one. Maybe not as big, or we might end up taking it off, but just in case we need it, I'll add it. And time.